Hi guys, welcome to week 2 hands-on on our 6 weeks journey, SQL journey. Today we'll be looking at how to work with data from different sources. We go through the steps of loading data from a CSV file into an SQL database, and then we're going to validate this data using SQL query. Okay. Also, we'll do a recap on the basic operation we used on week 1, and then we also look at the delete and update command. As always, we're going to start this using our uh, DB browser. So first of all, I'll need to create a database. Remember, we said that SQL will sit on a database. So we're going to create our own database. So here, I'll click on New Database, and I'll save this database. I already created a folder where I'm going to save this. I'll save this as week number 2, and then I'll do .db, and then I'll do save. So you remember, this is where we used last week to create our table, but because this week we are not going to be creating those table manually because we are going to be importing data from SQL. What we will do is we need to close this, and then we need to go to our file and then import, and then we go to import table from CSV file. So right here, I will have to find where I had this file saved in my computer. Don't worry, I will be sharing this data set with you, so you could also try your hands out. So now we have this student data that I have made available that we'll be working with. So I will open. It should bring me out to this uh, window. So in this window, you're going to do a few things. You're going to make sure there's a few things we're going to make sure about here. One of them is we could rename the table. We could rename the name of the table to whatever it is we want. So I will be keeping it simple. So I will make the table name to be student. Then in your window, you might have this unchecked. You need to check this. What it's trying to do is to tell you to select column names in first line. Though you remember when we talked about tables being in columns and rows. So these are the columns, and these are the numbers are the rows. So if we keep it like this, so we're not going to have a column name, and then it's going to be difficult for us to query each of these columns to get out our result. So once this is done, you could just say okay, yes, we have our table imported. When you go to this data structure, you see we have our table here, and you go to browse table, you can see the contents of our table. So one more thing we could do, okay, is to edit this table. We could come here and do modify table. We could modify this table. We could modify this table by because as you can see, this table has no primary key. We could add a primary key to this table, to the student ID, to make sure that it remains unique going forward. So, but we are not going to be using any of those. We're not going to be using any queries that will uh, modify or take away our student ID. But then that's you need to know that. So first of all, what we need to do, I will have to go into the first query. We need to do do my commenting out. Sorry, do my comment out. So the first query we are going to look at is let's retrieve all data to make sure for what we have. Remember, cap lock we do select. Star is from. This time is student. When I run this, I should have the number of rows of data that I have in the data set, which is 100. So this the first we have to do. Then we need to validate to make sure that the data we had is complete. We've done that. Next, we need to look at, let's check if there are missing values in the data. It is always important to make sure that the data you got is complete for data integrity and accuracy. So what we're going to do is to check for missing or incorrect data. And to do that, we need to use our select command again. Select, sorry, they should be on cap lock. Select from, then the student is the data set. And then we introduce our conditional statement where we check first name is no, or last name is no. Sorry, I need to take this away. So basically, what this is going to do is going to go into our data set and check if there are columns that are that are not do not have any first name or last name. So it's no. Remember when I did last week about telling you creating data set and making sure that it is not no, like it's not empty. So it's no means it's empty. That's what it means in programming language. So we're going to run this, and the result returned 0 in 66 seconds, meaning that we have all our data intact and working. So the next we're going to do is quickly on this, we need to count the number of rows. So we count the total number of rows that we have. To do that, you should take a guess because I know you did that. We did that last time. Count asterisk from then students. I will select this. Remember, we need to select this and then we need to run. So we count. We have 100 data rows, and then that correctly. That is what is giving us. So we will be doing some advanced functions now. So let's take it up a little bit up. Take it up a little bit up. Let's look at what should we look at now? Okay, let's look at okay, order by. Let's look at order by. Order by. So here what we're going to do is we need to select number of students and then the total number of students, and then we're going to order them alphabetically by according to their last names from students, and then I should have order by, I think that's last name. That's last name. If I select this and run, selected, yeah, you could see that the last names are alphabetically. To verify this, you need to look at this. The Morgan Adams has a student ID of 100, followed by Aaron Bladder, who has a student ID of 68, and so on. So it's now being ordered by the last name in alphabetical orders. So we have A, B, C, D going down and down. Okay, let's step up a little bit more advanced. Okay, what do we do here? Okay, I will introduce to you a command called alias. So what the alias does is it changes this column name to a name that you choose of your choosing. Any name you choose, that's what it's going to be. So let's look at group by alias, and then let's calculate the average. We have CGP here. Okay, let's calculate the average scores. Let's calculate the average score for male and female. I think that's where group by can come in. Alias and group by. Remember to close this. So what I have to do is to select all. Okay, no, I'll need to select. Okay, let's do gender only. Let me select gender. I need to select gender, and then I need to count every student. Count. I need to count every student, and then I need to use the as here as student count, comma, and then I need to do the average. We'll introduce the function AVG. That's going to calculate the average of our CGP. Yeah, that's correct. So, and I will use an alias for this as well. So it should be average GPA, and then we're going to select all these from our usual student table, and then we are going to group by what we selected here. That's what we group by, which is gender. Yes, which is gender. So we have three commands here. We have the group by, we have the alias, and we have the average here. So we are going to run this code now. And if we run this, it's giving us the gender, it's grouping the average GPA based on the number of students count, and then there's the average. So 57 female, we have 57 female in the data set, and we have 49 male, and this is the average GPA. So I think that's that. Now, from last week, we looked at the basic functions. We are going to still look at some basic functions that we did not look at. So, two of those basic functions we are going to look at is the update and the delete. Uh, the update and the delete command. These are two important commands. Then note when you're using your delete, you need to be careful because you can, with the delete, you could delete the whole table, you could lose your data, you could lose your record. So you need to be careful when you're using that. Before you run, make sure you look at the codes again and make sure you are running what you're meant to run. So I'll first of all do update. First of all, do update. I will be updating a single record. So what I will do is this update the data set students, and then okay, the let's set the GPA of one of the user IDs to a number. So I'm going to do CGA equals to, I'm going to set it to 4.5 to make this a first class student, and then we're going to do where the student ID is equals to 10. So before I run this, I want to show you what is the student ID already so that we could appreciate that. So we do select all, where select all, sorry, from students, where student ID is equals to 10. I'm going to do this, select this, and run. So the GPA of the student with student ID 10 is 2.8. So now let's update this. I'm going to select this and run this, and then we'll try to run this again to see. So you see, we have the new record as 4.5. So that's for edit. So we will try to delete this record as well. Delete a single record. So what we are going to do here is to delete from students. Remember what I told you about being careful about it, so you don't delete. If you do this, you're going to delete the table, our student table. So we are going to introduce a condition where student ID equals to 10. So now we are going to select this, and then I'm going to run this. So it said it has executed. So what we are going to do then, we're going to go back to this and try to run this to see if actually it has been deleted. So if you run this, no record. So we do not have any student record displaying. So that means this has gone. So this is where we'll be stopping for week 2. I hope you try your hands out in this. What we learned, we've just covered how to load a data from CSV file into SQL database, and then we're able to also validate this data using SQL queries. We also introduced you to some advanced SQL function, and then we looked at the basic modification commands in SQL. So what I want to do next is to try this out on by yourself. I will share the data set. You can try out this out and then see how it goes. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it up in the comment section, and don't forget to like this video, share it, then like the video on YouTube so that others could see, and then follow along for those who are trying to get into SQL. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more hands-on SQL tutorial. Till next time, keep trying, keep querying, keep learning.